Hey everyone, this is Sean. Don't ever do this if you're new to private security. If somebody steals from your post, don't call into the police, I've been robbed, or we've been robbed, or the client's been robbed. We are going to need to slowly remove that word from your vocabulary. So let's get started. There's a large difference between robbery and theft. When somebody steals from your property, most of the time, like 90% of the time, they're committing theft and not robbery. So what is theft, Sean? Every state has different definitions of theft and robbery, but just about every state uses some type of variant of the model penal code. Basically, your theft is the taking of personal property from someone else without their permission, with intent to either permanently or temporarily deprive that person from that property right. Some states mention that that person has to have the intent to permanently deprive someone else. Some states, they require that other person to have the intent to temporarily deprive. It just depends on the state. But most of the time, you're taking personal property from somebody else without the permission. That's your theft. That happens at about 90% or more of the time at your post. With robbery, all we're doing is adding the force or fear element. So you're taking personal property from the other person, okay, using force or fear. So maybe you're telling this person, I'm going to F you up if you don't give me your watch. You give that watch because you're in fear of getting effed up. Or you go to somebody, they have an item that you want, and you struggle with that person. You grab their shoulders, you grab their arm, or sometimes you produce a weapon and you use that weapon against that person. So whenever you use force or fear to gain personal property from someone else's legal possession, that's a robbery. Let's just say you're working security and you've watched this video, you feel comfortable doing your job. You feel comfortable between the difference of robbery and theft. Do not call in to your police department and say, hey, you know what? We got robbed. You still don't do that. But be a little bit more specific. Okay? I'll give you a perfect example how I screwed it up once. I was working security at a mall. We had the suspect that used force against the victim. It was a little bit of force. There's basically a tug of war for the purse and took off. So I called in to the police department. I said, hey, private security at this mall, can you please send some officers? We just had a strong arm robbery. So they didn't just send officers, they sent the whole department. What it appeared, they sent like 7 officers, 2 detectives, they sent a lieutenant, the sergeant was over there, and at the end of the day, the law enforcement agency lost a lot of respect for me. They were pissed off because of the way I called it in. What I should have did was, hey, I'm private security, this is my name, I'm at this property. We just had somebody use force against somebody to steal their purse. Something to that effect. Whether the dispatcher wants to put it in as a strong arm robbery is up to them. Whether they want to put it in as just a regular theft, it's up to them. But you don't, even if you're right, and at that time I ended up being right because later on I heard on the scanner that the police officer took a report for strong arm robbery. Okay, it was one of your purse snatch. A lot of times your purse snatches are either grand theft person. That means you're taking personal property from somebody else. That's when that property is on their possession. So let's say you see somebody and you do a pickpocket. That in California and a lot of other states, that's called grand theft person. That's usually a felony. Now, if you're using force or fear, you're having a tug of war with this person, it becomes strong arm robbery. But don't call it in as such. Call it in exactly how you see it. Very briefly, hey, there's a struggle between this woman and the suspect. The suspect got the purse and ran northbound on Main Street from Washington. Send some officers now, please. Okay? The media doesn't help. We watch all of these movies. When somebody steals something from somebody, the first thing they do is call 911, I've been robbed. Or when their house is broken into or the business. Dispatch, can you send an officer? I've been robbed. No. if somebody goes inside of your house or business with intent to steal something, okay, most of the time, if they use some type of forced entry or some type of trickery, it's usually a burglary. So no, it's not I've been robbed, it's I've been burglarized. Something better would say, something better would be, hey, I'm private security for this mall, this is my name, this is the address. Somebody just forced entry inside of this business, or somebody just broke inside of this business. Again, don't say I'm robbed. Try not to even say a burglarized, which is the more proper term. Just say it as it is. Okay, we've been broken into. So try to eliminate the word burglary and robbery from your vocabulary. Now, if somebody comes inside of a business armed with firearms or something like that, or even a knife, they come inside and they steal property, that's when you want to tend to steal property and leave. That's when you tend to want to lead towards, hey, we just had an armed robbery involving a knife or involving a firearm. Okay, that's a little bit different. But most of the time, you guys, most of the time when somebody steals from your post, it's a theft. It is not a robbery. Don't call it in as a robbery. Call it in exactly as you see it. As a reminder, if they break into a business, instead of saying I've been burglarized or we've been burglarized, the client's been burglarized, someone just forced entry inside of this business. Okay, even though you might be right, just don't make the mistakes that I've made in the past. Get everybody excited. I'm telling you, law enforcement will lose respect. Respect is very important in private security. You want respect because you want it to be that when you call law enforcement for something, they take you seriously and they respond in a prompt manner. But if you cry wolf, you act unprofessional by giving the wrong vocabulary, totally wrong vocabulary, they're going to lose interest in you, lose respect, and the end result is not something that is advantageous to everybody. Let me know what you guys think. Do you know anybody that keeps using these types of words, robs, burglarizes, in an improper context? If you have any advice or input for others, looking forward to the comments, looking for a dialogue. I appreciate all of you who take time out of your day to respond to other people's comments and concerns. Whenever I'm at work, I can't like your comments. I can't comment to your questions. I have to lay off of social media, so I depend on a lot of you guys. Looking forward to dialogue. You guys all take care. And remember, don't use the word robbed. Use the word, hey, they stole from us. Something to that effect. You guys all take care.